let me make sure. Should definitely be on point. All right, hold on. We good? We good? All right, we definitely on point right now. Yeah, we good. We good. Live. Hold on, let me just check something one time. Come here. All right. Let's go here. Just make sure the sound is correct. Shit is fucking up. Let me just get something. Let's go back here.
One dominant life form in this universe, and it carries a steel-barreled sword of vengeance.
All right, we good. All right, we good. All right, we good. All right, we good. We just waiting on this thing to go live, man. We got 5 minutes. Man. We in there like swimwear. All right, we good. We just waiting on this thing to go live, man. All right. Yo, what up? Oh, man. Today is, it's time. It's about time. We've been waiting for all this spec talk. We've been waiting for all this information. We already know Xbox been dropping info. We know a lot about the Xbox. I feel like we know everything. The only thing left to find out about the Xbox is what type of games we going to be getting. You dig? As far as PlayStation goes, we know nothing. We know a little bit, just a little tiny bit, but we need to know, we need a blowout, man. We need to know everything that Xbox have given us so far. We need that. Everything that Xbox has given us so far, we definitely need that on the PlayStation side of things, man. Somebody said it's going to be boring. Yeah, it's supposed to be 52 minutes long. It's a deep dive in the PlayStation, probably from a technical standpoint. We're probably not going to get any type of gameplay or something like that. I don't know what the fuck to expect. This was supposed to be the keynote or whatever for the CDC. But who knows? Maybe they went back in and changed some things. Hopefully, with all of the information that Xbox has been releasing or Microsoft has been releasing, hopefully that made Sony go back to the drawing board and we'll see, man. We'll see. We know Sony has some type of arrogance. They got a little bit of arrogance with them. We already know. And, I get it. They've been dominating, you know what I mean? Since they've been here, they've been dominating. They only slipped up on, with the PS3, but the PS1, the PS2, total domination. And also with the PS4, it's been total domination out of the 4 generations they've been here. They have dominated and destroyed the competition in 3 of them. So they do have a level of arrogance with them. So, you know what I mean? They like making us wait and all that. Like, yo, just dump that shit, man. Dump the fucking info. God damn. You know what I mean? Ain't no need for no secrets. Xbox done played their whole motherfucking hand. You know what I'm saying? They done played their whole hand. Dump this info, man. Give us everything. If we can see what the console look like today, that will be great. I doubt it, but damn, keep hope alive, my guy. Also, I would like to see the controller. If that's possible, can see what the controller going to be hitting for. But I don't know. I feel it. I feel that we're not going to get no hardware reveal at all. That's what I feel. It is a 50-minute video. 50 minutes, man. A lot of information can be given in 50 minutes, man. They did the same exact thing with the PS4. Hopefully, they change it up a little bit. You know what I mean? A little bit. Hopefully, Microsoft has done enough to make Sony be like, all right, let's show them the console. Let's do this or let's do that. Or maybe the console is not even finalized. I would assume that it is by now, right? Right? It should be, right? I would assume. Because you're going to have to get these things into production really soon, because you're coming off of a console that sold over 100 million units. It's a big deal. Hopefully we get some information on the backwards compatibility, if it's going to be backwards compatibility through all of the generations. You know what I'm saying? So hopefully we get that. That'll be great. What else? What else y'all want to see? What y'all want to see? We definitely need them teraflops. We need those motherfucking teraflops just to put all of the rumors, all of the speculation, all of the fucking theories, the insiders, and all that stupid shit. We definitely need them teraflops. Put those teraflops out there. Go ahead and put that fucking, the RAM. We need all the specs. All the specs. Everything, man. Just give it to us. Give us everything. Don't play with this. Don't have us. I think as far as specs go, we should not be sitting here watching 50 minutes of video and then leave and still don't know certain things. Unless it's like hardware and stuff like that, okay. But as far as what's going to be under the hood, we should know everything we need to know by the time this fucking shit is over with. You dig? That's how I feel. So, or that's what I expect. I expect to know everything about what's under the hood by the time we get out of here. You know what I mean? Just to put all the shit, all the talk to rest. I'm so tired of fucking specs and all this shit. Let us know what them teraflops is. Is it going to be 9? Is it going to be 13, 12? Whatever the fuck it's going to be, let us know. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, if it's lower, Xbox dudes is going to haul ass with that. If it's more, we know the PlayStation dudes going to haul ass with that. But if it is, I mean, we already seen what Sony has done with, hold on, did it start yet? Like, oh, here we go. We already seen what Sony has done with less, we've already seen what Sony has done with less teraflops. I'm quite sure this is pretty loud. Let me turn it down. All right, how that sound? Does the sound good? The sound good? Let me know about the sound. Let me know about the sound. Let me know if the sound is good. We already seen what Sony can do with less teraflops. So teraflops don't tell the whole story. Let's just say Xbox got 12, Sony got 9. That really don't mean nothing. As far as corporate slaves in the console wars, I guess they'll use that. But once them games start coming out, that shit gonna put all that teraflop talk to fucking sleep. Just like when they was running around with the whole 6 teraflops. And then when the game started coming out, like the God of War and the Spider-Man and shit like that, it was shitting on anything that Xbox had. So that whole teraflop conversation was put to sleep. So if it is less teraflops, I see the same thing happening again. I think once Sony starts showing off them exclusives and they shitting on anything that Xbox is bringing to the table, as far as exclusives go and graphics and shit like that, I think that'll kill the teraflop noise. But we're going to have to hear that teraflop noise until we actually see some games. That's if the Xbox got more teraflops. If the Xbox got more teraflops, then we're going to have to hear that shit until we actually see some games. God damn, man. I'm about sick and tired of these teraflops. Shout outs to Rodrigo. He said 500 in here. Hit that like button. Oh, damn, we got 630. God damn. Okay. They fucking with me today. You know what I mean? They fucking with me, man. Shout outs to y'all, man. Hit the like button, man. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's go, baby. Oh, hold on. Let me get this out the corner, though. Oh, man, that shit sound kind of low. Can y'all hear that? Okay. Can y'all hear that? Y'all can hear that, right? No sound at all? No audio from the video. Is it too low? No audio from the video. Hold up, what's going on? What do they mean, no audio? Oh, shit. What the fuck? No audio from the video. Damn it. Hold on 1 second. I definitely don't know. I mean, I hear the audio, but y'all don't hear the audio. So my shit is not picking it up. I wonder why is it not picking it up. Hold on. Let me check something. Hold on, let me check something.
Creators. We definitely do have some ideas of our own, but at the core of our philosophy for designing consoles is that game players
Can y'all hear audio now?
Fantastic games. Which is to say that
Definitely
game creators
fumbling the
matter.
bag.
Anything we can do
Definitely
to make life
fumbling the
easier for the
bag.
game creators or help them realize their dreams, we will do. So about once every 2
Can y'all hear-
years,
y'all
I
hear
take
it now?
a tour of the industry. I go to the various developers and publishers, sit down, and discuss how they're doing with the current consoles and what they'd like to
All right,
see
hold on.
in
Let me
future
make sure.
consoles.
Let me hear it.
This
Okay, y'all can
requires
hear it.
weeks
All
on the
right.
road, as reaching the bulk of the game creators involves talking to well over 100 people at something like 24 publishers and developers. And it is incredibly valuable.
All right, we
By the
good,
way,
people.
the feature most requested by the developers,
We
that
good. They
was
had
an
me for a
SSD,
minute. We good.
which we were very happy to put in the hardware, but a lot of problem solving was required. I'll be doing a deep dive.
Yo,
on
I know. I
SSD
lost 300
around
people
its
because they had no audio. Motherfucker. I had over
It's also
700.
key to make a generational leap while keeping the console sufficiently familiar to game developers. I think about this in terms of balancing evolution and revolution. Now,
I lost
with
all them
PlayStation
people 'cause I
1,
had no
2, and
audio.
3, the
Son of a
target was
bitch.
a
I fumbled the
revolution
bag.
each time with a brand new feature set. That was great in many ways, but time for the developers to get up and running got longer with each console. In the past,
All right,
I
let's
called
listen,
this
people. Let's
time
listen.
to triangle. Here's what I had for those 3 consoles. To be clear, I'm not talking about time to make a game. Developers will be ambitious, and it may take them 6 years or so to realize their vision. What I'm talking about is that dead time before graphics and other aspects of game development are up and running, and trying to minimize that. On the other hand, if we're trying to reduce that dead time to 0, that means the hardware architecture can't change at all. We're handcuffed. We need to judge for each feature what value it adds and whether it's worth the increase in developer time needed to support it. So with PlayStation 4, we were able to strike a pretty good balance between performance and familiarity. We got required learning back to PlayStation 1 levels. With PS5, the GPU was definitely the area we felt the most tension between adding new features and keeping a familiar programming model. Ultimately, I think we've ended up with something under a month of getting up to speed. That feels like we're striking about the right balance. I'll go into a bit more detail
Said it
later
was
today
better with the
about our
sound
philosophy
off,
with the
y'all
GPU and the specific feature set that resulted from it. It's also very important for us, as the hardware team, to find new dreams, by which I mean something other than CPU performance, GPU performance, and the amount of RAM. The increase in graphics performance over the past 2 decades has been astonishing, but there are other areas in which we can innovate and provide significant value to the game creators, and through them, the players. That's why the SSD was very much on our list of directions to explore, regardless of what came out of the conversations with game developers and publishers. The biggest feature in this category is the custom engine for audio. That's today's final topic. The push for vastly improved audio, and in particular 3D audio, isn't something that came out in developer meetings. It's much more the case that we had a dream of what might be possible 5 years from now, and then worked out a number of steps we could take to set us on that path. So here again are the 3 principles, the first being enabling the desires of developers to drive the hardware design.
That
To
audio
me,
is
the
definitely fake
SSD
as
really
shit. Them
is
niggas
the
ain't
key to the
even
next
moving.
generation. It's a game
I'm quite
changer.
sure you got to
And
scratch
it
or
was the
something.
#1 ask from developers for PlayStation 5. As in, we know it's probably impossible, but can you put an SSD in it? That was a discussion we were also having internally. It was clear that the presence of a hard drive in every PlayStation 4 was having a positive impact. A lot of things that would simply have been impossible at Blu-ray disc speeds were now possible. At the same time, though, in 2015 and 2016, when we were having these conversations, developers were already banging up against the limits of the hard drive, and a lot of developer time was being spent designing around slow load speeds. I want to focus in on just one number here, which is how long it takes to load a gigabyte of data from a hard drive. The difficulty being that hard drives are neither particularly fast nor flexible.
No shit.
If all your data is in one block, which is frankly not very likely, you can load 50 to 100
I don't need
megabytes
you
a
to break
second,
down no hard
depending on where
drives,
the
dog.
data
We
is
know the
located on
motherfuckers
the
are
hard drive.
slow.
Let's assume it's on the outer edge, which means loading a gigabyte takes 10 seconds. If you compress your game packages, you can fit more data on the Blu-ray disc and also effectively boost your hard drive read speed by the compression
These
ratio.
motherfuckers is, when
We
they said
support
deep dive, they
Z-Lib
meant that
decompression on
shit.
PlayStation 4 that gets you something like 50% more data on the disc and 50% higher effective read speed. Unfortunately, though, it's highly likely that your data is scattered around in various files on the hard drive, as well as sourced from multiple locations within those files. So lots of seeks are needed at 2 to 50-ish milliseconds each. My rule of thumb is that the hard drive is spending 2/3 of its time seeking and only 1/3 of its time actually loading data. Putting all of that together,
they meant
a
deep
gigabyte
dive,
is
people.
very roughly 20 seconds to load from a hard drive.
This nigga
Now,
breaking down
a
hard drive
gigabyte
speeds.
is not
We
much.
know the hard
Games are
drive is
using
slow.
5 or 6 gigabytes
Just
of
tell
RAM
us
on
about the
PlayStation 4, so
SSD.
boot times and load times can get pretty grim. Or to put that differently, as a player, you wait for the game to boot, wait for the game to load, wait for the level to reload every time you die, and you wait for what is euphemistically called
We know
fast
this, fam.
travel. And all of that leads to the dream. What if we could have not just an SSD, but a blindingly fast SSD? If we could load 5 gigabytes a second from it, what would change? Now, SSDs are completely different from hard drives. They don't have seeks as such. If you have a 5 gigabyte a second SSD, you can read data from 1,000 different locations in that second, pretty much at speed. As for time to load a gigabyte, this is next gen we're talking about, so memory is bigger. Instead, we should be asking how long to load 2 gigabytes. And the answer is about 1/4 of a second. I mean, that's amazing. We're talking 2 orders of magnitude, meaning very roughly 100 times faster.
That's pretty fucking fast.
Which means at 5
Got a
gigabytes a
demo
second
for
for
us?
the SSD, the potential is that the
That
game
crowd
boots
still
in
ain't
a
moved,
second.
people. That audience.
There are no
Okay, somebody
load
just
screens.
moved. The
The
dude
game
moved.
just fades
He
down
moved
while
in the
loading
middle.
a half dozen gigabytes and fades back up again. Same for a reload. You're immediately back in the action after you die. And fast travel becomes so fast it's blink and you miss it. As game creators, we go from trying to distract the player from how long fast travel is taking, like those Spider-Man subway rides, to being so blindingly fast that we might even have to slow that transition down. Pretty cool, right?
Can we get a
but
demo?
for me, this is not the primary reason to change from a hard drive to an SSD. The primary reason for an ultra-fast SSD is that it gives the game designer freedom. Or to put that differently, with a hard drive, the 20 seconds that it takes to load a gigabyte can sabotage the
Shout
game
out to the
that
super
the
chat.
developer is trying to create. I think almost all of us in the room have experienced this, maybe in different ways. Say we're making an adventure game and we have 2 rich environments where we each want enough textures and models to fill memory, which you can do as long as you have a long staircase or elevator ride or a windy
said deep
corridor
dive,
where you
people,
can ditch the
they
old
meant
assets
deep
and then take
dive.
30 seconds or so to load the new assets. Having a 30-second elevator ride
Xbox
is
gave it to us in a
little extreme.
casual way.
More realistically,
These
we
motherfuckers
probably
giving it to
chop
us
the
like we
world
got
into
years
a
of
number
experience
smaller
and
pieces,
fucking
and then do some
architecture.
calculations with sight lines and run speeds, like we did for Haven
Okay, I'm gonna
City
stop
when
talking,
we were
I'm
making
sorry.
Jack 2. The game is 20 years old, but not much has changed since then. All those twisty passages are there for a reason. There's a whole subset of level design dedicated to this sort of work, but still, it's a giant distraction for a team that just wants to make their game. So when I talked about the dream of an SSD, part of the reason for that 5 gigabyte a second target was to eliminate loads, but also part of the reason for that target was streaming. As in, what if the SSD is so fast that as the player is turning around, it's possible to load textures for everything behind the player in that split second? If you figure that it takes half a second to turn, that's 4 gigabytes of compressed data you can load. That sounds about right for next gen. Anyway, back to the hard drive. Another strategy for increasing effective read speed is to make big sequential chunks of data. For example, we might
this
group
SSD
all the
about to be
data
the
together for each
fastest
city
shit
block.
you ever seen
That
in
removes
life.
most of the seeks, and the streaming gets faster. But there's a downside too. which is that frequently used data is included in many chunks
The way
and
they
therefore
talking,
is
it's
on
like
the
it's
hard
going to be
drive
faster than the
many,
SSD
many
that the
times.
Xbox
Marvel's
got.
Spider-Man uses this strategy, and though it works very well for increasing the streaming
blindly
speed,
fast.
there's a massive duplication as a result. Some of the objects like mailboxes or news racks are on the hard drive 400 times. What I'm describing here are things that cramp a creative director's style. Either level design gets a little bit boring in places, or the data is duplicated so many times that it no longer fits on the Blu-ray disc. And you end up with hard limits on the player's run speed or driving speed.
Shout out to the
player
super
can't
chats,
go
man.
faster than the load speed from the hard drive.
This is by far the most boring
And
thing I've ever
finally,
seen.
I'm sure many of you have noticed that after a patch
damn,
download,
son, give
the
me a
PlayStation
trailer,
4 will
bro.
sometimes take a long time
Hey,
to
this is a
install.
deep dive, people. We got this is
That's
what a
because
deep
when just
dive
part of the
is.
file has been changed, the new data can be downloaded pretty quickly. But before the game boots up, a
Shout outs to
brand
y'all,
new
man.
file
Shout
has
out to
be
Chris
constructed that
Picks.
includes
He
the
said,
changed
I've
portion.
thrown my shoe by
Otherwise,
now.
every change would add a
Then we
secret
got Your
portion.
Royal Entertainment. He said,
Even so,
imagine
even
Mark
if
Cherney and
occasionally see
BG on
this
a
happening
live
on
stream.
game titles,
Z's.
they start to hitch once they get patched enough.
I'm trying to
With
be
an
quiet so
SSD,
people can hear what's going
no
on,
seats.
people.
So no need to make brand new files with the changes incorporated into them, which means no installs as you know them today.
No installs,
There's
as
yet
we know
one
today.
more benefit, which is that system memory can be used much more efficiently. On PlayStation 4, game data on the hard drive feels very distant and difficult to use. By the time you realize you need a piece of data, it's much too late to go out and load it. So system memory has to contain all of the data that can be used in the next 30 seconds or so of gameplay. That means
I don't think we're going to get what we wanted, man. I don't think we're getting what we wanted today.
It's just waiting there to be potentially used. On PlayStation 5, though, the SSD is very close to being like more RAM.
Okay, so the
Typically,
PlayStation
it's
5,
fast
well, we
enough
already
when
knew
you
it would have
realize you
16
need
gigs
a
of
piece of data.
GDDR6,
You can
right?
just
We knew that,
load
right?
it from the SSD and use it. There's
Okay.
no need to have lots of data parked in system memory waiting to potentially be used.
Shout out to Pillsbury
A different way
27.
of saying
Damn, we
that
are
is
going
that
to class
most
or
of
what?
RAM
LOL.
is working on
That's
the
a
game's
fact.
behalf. This is one of the reasons that 16 gigabytes of GDDR6 feels right for PlayStation 5. The presence of the SSD reduces the need
So
for
if
a
the 16
massive
gigs wasn't
intergenerational
confirmed, then we know
increase
now
in
16
size.
gigs GDDR6.
So back to the dream of the SSD. Here's the set of targets. Boot the game in a
dream of
second.
the SSD. So does
No
that
load
mean it's not going to happen?
Design freedom, meaning
Ultra
no
fast
twisty
boot, no
passages
load
or long
screens,
corridors.
ultra high speed streaming.
More game on the disk and more game on the
Okay,
SSD.
deduplicate
And
game
finally,
data.
those patch
no long
installs
patch
go
installs.
away.
Oh, really?
The reality, though, is that the SSD is just one piece of the puzzle. There's a lot of places where bottlenecks can occur in between the SSD and the game code that uses the data. You can see this on PlayStation 4. If I use an SSD with 10 times the speed of a standard hard drive, I probably see only double the loading speed, if that. For PlayStation 5, our goal was not just that the SSD itself be 100 times faster. It was that game loads and streaming would be 100 times faster. So every
100
single
times
potential
faster?
bottleneck needed to be addressed. And there are a lot of them.
Wow.
Let's look at check-in and what happens when its overhead gets 100 times larger. Conceptually, check-in is a pretty simple process. Data is loaded into system
I think I
memory
can
from the
read some
hard drive or
super chats while we
SSD.
take a
It's
break from
examined,
this.
a few values are
Shout out to
tweaked
Yo Rage.
check-in,
What up, player?
and then it's moved to its final location.
Also, Urban
At the
Combat
SSD
1000.
speeds
Yo,
we're
this is
talking
boring as
about,
hell. Really, that
last
man's
part,
voice sound like
moving
he
the
can
data,
narrate your whole
copying
life from
one
birth to
location
present.
to another, takes roughly
Shout out
an
to What's Up,
entire
G. It
next
has
year to
10.2
and that's just the
teraflops.
tip of the iceberg.
LOL.
If all the overheads get 100 times larger, that will cripple the frame rate as soon as the player
I don't know when he
moves,
said
and
anything
that
about the
massive
teraflops,
stream
but
of
even if
data
it does
starts
have
coming
10,
off
that's
the
still-
SSD.
It's not
So to
bad,
solve
man.
all of
I
that,
mean,
we built a lot
whatever.
of custom hardware, namely a
It's about
custom
what they can
flash
do with
controller and a number of custom units in our main chip. The flash controller in the SSD was designed for smooth and bottleneck-free operation, but also with games in mind.
This
For
nigga
example, there
saying
are
we might
6
not have
levels
to
of
do
priority when
installs
reading from the SSD.
super
Priority
duper
is very
fast, 100
important. You can
times
imagine
faster.
the player heading into some new
than the,
location in the
hard
world
drive
and
you
the
got
game
now.
requesting a few
Wow.
gigabytes of text.
We'll see.
And while those textures are being loaded, an enemy is shot and has to speak a few dying words. Having multiple priority levels lets
Shout
the
out to
audio
Yo
for
Royal
those dying
Entertainment,
words
man. He
get
said,
loaded
why my guy sound
immediately.
like a character from Demolition Man?
On one
movie.
side, that
LOL,
flash
be
controller
well.
connects to the actual flash dies that supply the storage. To reach our bandwidth target of 5 gigabytes a second, we ended
All right,
up
so
with
what
a
we can chalk this up
12-channel
to, right? We can chalk this up
8
to
channels wouldn't
the
do.
SSD is going to be fast
Resulting
as fuck.
bandwidth
All right,
routine
it's going
is
to be
actually
ultra
5.5
fucking
gigabytes
fast.
a
That's
second.
pretty much
With
what
the
we could just chalk
12-channel
this up
interface,
to.
the most
Or
natural
that's what they
size
dreaming
that
of.
emerges for
You know what I mean? Or that's the
SSD is
target.
825
You know what I mean?
gigabytes.
It's going to be a
The key
super
question for
fast
us was,
SSD.
is that enough? I mean, it's
Faster
tempting
than
to add
anything
more,
we
but
have
Flash
seen
certainly
thus far,
doesn't
even
come
in
cheap.
PC.
And we have a
So, yeah,
responsibility
we'll see.
to
We'll
our
see if
gaming
that turns
audience
out to
be
be true.
cost effective with regards to what we put in the console.
But
Ultimately,
if that's the
we
case, then
resolved
we
this
already know
question by looking
SSDs
at
on
the
PC
play
is about to
patterns
go
of
up
a
another
broad
notch or
range
two.
of gamers. We examined the
Shout out to
specific
Chris
games that
Picks.
they were
He
playing
said,
over
looks
the
like he
course of
has
a
the
weekend
last
or week or
Vio
month,
laptop
and whether
ever
that
made.
set of games would fit
Yeah, that's a
properly
fact.
on
You
the
know damn
SSD.
well that shit don't work.
We were able to establish that the friction caused by reinstalls or re-downloads would be quite low. And so we locked in on that 825 gigabyte size, while also preparing multiple strategies so that those who want more storage can add it. I'll go through the details in a moment. Back to the flash controller. On the other side, it connects to our main custom chip via 4 lanes of Gen 4 PCIe. And inside the main custom chip is a pretty hefty unit dedicated to
PS5
I/O.
is 10 teraflops. I don't know
Before
where
we
y'all
talk
got
about
that
what
from.
that
We ain't
does,
even get to
let's
that
talk
far yet.
compression for a moment.
He been since this shit started. He's
PlayStation
been on the
4 uses
SSD.
zlib
He's
as
talking
its
about the
compression
SSD.
format.
A
I
Kraken.
decided to use it again on PlayStation 5, but on my
Hold on, they
2017
throwing
tour
shots.
of
This
developers,
some
I learned about a
underlining
new
shit.
format
Why that
called
Kraken got a body?
Kraken
We know
for
where he
grad
getting at with
game
this.
tools.
The
It's
Kraken
like
got a body.
zlib's smarter cousin. Simple, similar types of algorithms, but about 10% better compression, which is pretty big. That means 10%
Shout out to
more
What's
game
Up
on
G.
the
You said
UHD
apparently the
3D
Xbox
disc
Series
or
X
on
is more
the
powerful.
SSD. Kraken had
Well,
only
we
been
ain't
out
get
for
shit
a
yet.
year,
Where
but
y'all
it
get
was
this
already
information from?
becoming
We
a
still on the
de facto
SSD.
industry standard. Half of the teams I talked to were either using it or getting ready to evaluate it. So we hustled and built a custom decompressor into the I/O unit, one capable of handling over 5 gigabytes of Kraken format input data a second. After decompression, that
It's mighty
typically
strange
becomes
they
8
chose
or
a
9
Kraken.
gigabytes.
That's
But
all I
the
gotta
unit
say.
itself is capable of
And they got a
outputting as
body.
much
They made
as
look. They made sure the
22
Kraken was
gigabytes
out
a
the
second
water so you could
if the
see his
data had to be
body.
compressed
They
into
taking
a
shots. Sony is
By the way, in
petty.
terms of performance,
I'm telling
that
you, they
custom
petty.
decompressor equates to 9 of our Zen 2 cores. That's what it would take to decompress the Kraken stream with a conventional
Oh, you sent it to me on Twitter? Let
There's
me
a
go
lot
check
more
Twitter.
in
Where
the
y'all
custom
getting this
I/O
info
unit,
from?
including
man?
a dedicated DMA controller. The game can direct exactly where it wants to send the data coming off of the
Oh,
SSD.
okay, let me see.
This equates to another Zen 2 core or two in terms of its copy performance. Its primary purpose is to remove check-in.
Yeah, looking
as a
like it
whole.
has 10 teraflops.
There's 2 dedicated I/O coprocessors and a large RAM pool. These aren't Zen 2 cores. They're there principally to direct the variety of custom hardware around them. One of the coprocessors is dedicated to SSD I/O. This lets us bypass traditional file I/O and its bottlenecks when reading.
Look like
from
they might have a memory card
the
also.
other is responsible for memory mapping, which
They might have
I
a
know
memory
doesn't
card just
sound
like
like
the
anything
Xbox.
related to the SSD, but a lot of developers map and remap memory as part of file I/O, and this too can become.
Shout out to McLovin. I might as well get back to work,
There are
man.
coherency engines to assist the coprocessors. Coherency
Yeah, the
comes up in
specs
a
done
lot
got
of
leaked
places.
on Twitter. The
Probably
specs is
the
on
biggest
Twitter.
coherency issue
I guess
is
I'll
stale
retweet
data
the
in the
specs.
GPU caches. Flushing all of the GPU caches whenever the SSD is read is an unattractive option. It could really
talking
hurt
about the
GPU
SSD
performance.
right now.
So we've implemented a gentler way of doing things, where
10
the coherency
teraflops.
engines inform the
Well,
GPU
we about to
of
hear
the
about this for
overwritten
the
address
next fucking
ranges,
until we
and
see some
custom
games.
scrubbers in
We about to hear
several dozen
Xbox
GPU
dudes talk
caches
about
to
having 2
pinpoint
more
revisions of
teraflops
just those
than the PlayStation.
The best thing is, as a game developer, when you read from the SSD,
But
you
we
don't
already
understand any
seen
of
when
this.
they had 6
You don't
teraflops.
even
The
need to know
PS4
that
Pro
your
had
data is
4.
compressed.
We already
just
seen what the games
indicate
look like.
what
So
data
I
you'd
mean,
like to read
we'll
from
see
your
how this
original
goes.
uncompressed file and where you'd like to put it, and the whole process of loading it happens invisibly to you.
Matter
and
of
it's very
fact, the
Back to the
Xbox
dream.
got less than
Thanks
2
to
teraflops
all of that
more.
surrounding hardware, our
Actually.
5.5 gigabytes a second really
Right.
should translate
Yeah,
into
we'll see
something
what
like
happens.
100 times faster I/O than PS4, and allow the dream of no load screens and super fast streaming to become a reality. Having said that, expandability of our SSD is going to be quite important. Flash is costly, and you may very well want to
But
add
as far as the
storage to
SSD,
whatever
according to the
console.
compared to the Xbox, I think the
Now,
Xbox
the
SSD
kind
was
of storage
2 point
you need depends
something
on how you're
gigabytes a
going to use
second.
it.
This one is
If you have an
5.5.
extensive
So
PlayStation 4
this
library
SSD
and you'd
is
like to take advantage
way
of backwards
faster than
compatibility to play
the
those
than the
games on
Xbox
PlayStation
Series
5,
X,
then a
according
large
to
external hard drive
what's on
is ideal.
paper.
You
In
can
real world,
leave your
we'll
games
have
on
to
the
wait
hard
and
drive
see. But as
play
far
them
as what's
directly
on
from there,
paper,
thus saving
this
the pricier
SSD is
storage for your
way
PlayStation 5
faster than the
titles. Or you can
Xbox
copy
Series
your
X.
active PlayStation 4 titles to the SSD. If your purpose in adding more storage is to play PlayStation 5 titles, though, ideally you would add to your SSD storage.
Shout out to
We
Your
will be
Royal. This
supporting
live stream
certain
sponsored by
M2
NyQuil.
SSDs. These are internal drives that you can get
NyQuil
on
will
the
help
open
you
market
get some
and
sleep.
install in a bay.
When
in
you
the
gonna play
PlayStation
Fallout
5.
76, my
As
guy?
for which ones
First
we
of all, I
support,
don't even own that
when,
game.
I'll get to that in a moment. They connect through the custom I/O unit, just like our SSD does. So they
Gianni
can take full
Skywalker said, "I
advantage
thought I
of
was
the
a nerd.
decompression,
This ninja
I/O
spitting that
coprocessors,
SSD
and
knowledgeable
all the
to
other
a
features
T."
I was talking about.
Yeah, he definitely
Here's the
breaking
catch,
it
though.
down.
That commercial drive
But
has
the
to be
Xbox
at
Series
least as
X
fast as
SSD
ours.
was like 2
Games that
point
rely on the
something.
speed of our SSD
And this
need
one
to
is
work
5.5
flawlessly with any M2
gigabytes
drive.
per second. So
When I
it's
gave the
way
Wired
faster.
interview last year, I said that the PlayStation 5 SSD was faster than anything available on PC. At the time, commercial M2 drives used PCIe 3.0, and 4 lanes of that cap out at 3.5 gigabytes a second. In other words, no PCIe 3.0 drive can hit the required spec. M2 drives with PCIe 4.0 are now out in the market. We're getting samples and seeing 4 or 5 gigabytes a second from them. By year's end, I expect there will be drives that saturate 4.0 and support 7 gigabytes a second. Having said that, we are comparing apples and oranges, though, because that commercial M2 drive will have its own architecture, its own flash controller, and so on. For example, the NVMe specification lays out a priority scheme for requests that the M2 drives can use. And that scheme is pretty nice, but it only has 2 true priority levels. Our drive supports 6.
Shout out to Kid Mike. He said, "Damn, Xbox already taking L."
Definitely, but our
Well, Xbox got the
custom
win
IO
for
unit has to
teraflops.
arbitrate the extra
PlayStation got the win for
rather than
SSD
the M2 drive's
so
flash
far.
controller. And so the M2 drive needs a little extra speed to take care of issues arising from the different approach.
LA
That
Noir
commercial
2.
drive also
Yeah,
needs to
that
physically
no, don't
fit
tell me that.
inside of the bay we
That's one of my
created in
favorite fucking
PlayStation 5
games,
for
dog.
M2 drives. Unlike internal hard drives, there's unfortunately no standard for
He
the
definitely
height of
talking
an
big
M2
shit about this
and some M2
SSD.
drives
We
have
need to
giant
see some type of
heat sinks.
demo.
In fact, some of
Even
them
if the
even have
demo
their
is some
own
bullshit, see what we can expect.
Right now,
or
we're getting
what they
M2
are
drive
targeting.
samples
Let's
and
see it.
benchmarking them in various ways. When games hit beta as they get ready for the PlayStation 5 launch at year-end, we'll also be doing some compatibility testing to make sure that the architecture of particular M2 drives isn't too foreign for the games to handle. Once we've done that compatibility testing, we should be able to start letting you know which drives will physically fit and which drive samples have benchmarked appropriately high in our testing. It would be great if that happened by launch, but it's likely to be a bit past it. So please hold off on getting that M2 drive until you hear from us. Okay, back to our principles. Balancing evolution and revolution is the second of them. This was definitely a recurring theme with the GPU. We need new GPU features and capabilities. If we only have more performance, it's not really a new generation of console. Of course, many of these capabilities result in more
We on to the
performance. That's
GPU, people.
part of why a PlayStation 5 teraflop is more powerful than a PlayStation 4 teraflop. But we aren't just looking for the performance. We also need the ability to do something with the GPU that could not have been done before. And we need higher performance.
With the PlayStation, you will be able to get your SSD
GPU
off the
component,
shelf,
we don't
but you
want to
might
find
want
out we've
to
doubled
wait
the
for
power
Mark
consumed
Cerny to
and
recommend it.
reduced.
Whereas
But at the same
the
time, we
Xbox,
have to
it will be
make sure the
proprietary,
GPU
so you
can
will
run
have to get what the
PS4
fuck they
games.
give you. But
And we
with
have
the
to ensure
PlayStation,
that the
you'll be able to
architecture
get the
is easy for
new
the developers to
PCIe
adopt.
4.0
Now,
shit
backwards
right off the
compatibility
shelf.
is handled
If that's what you want to do
masterfully
to
by
upgrade
AMD.
your
They
storage.
treated it as a key
got
need
it.
throughout the design process. As our solution to adding new features without blindsiding developers, we made sure that if there were new significant features, it would be optional to use them. The GPU supports
Backwards
ray tracing, but
compatibility.
you don't have to use ray tracing to make your game. The GPU supports primitive shaders, but you can release your first game on PlayStation 5 without making any use of them. Before I get into the capabilities of the GPU, I'd like to make clear 2 points that can be quite confusing. First, we have a custom AMD GPU based on their RDNA 2 technology. What does that mean? AMD is continuously improving and revising their tech. For RDNA 2, their goals were, roughly speaking, to reduce power consumption by re-architecting the GPU to put data close to where it's needed, to optimize the GPU for performance, and to add a new, more advanced feature set. But that feature set is malleable, which is to say that we have our own needs for PlayStation, and that can factor into what the AMD roadmap becomes. So collaboration is born. If we bring concepts to AMD that are felt to be widely useful, then they can be adopted into RDNA 2 and used broadly, including in PC GPUs. If the ideas are sufficiently specific to what we're trying to accomplish, like the GPU cache scrubbers I was talking about, then they end up being just
I don't think there's nobody that works at Xbox
If you see a similar discrete GPU
like
available as a PC card at roughly the same time as we release our console, that means our collaboration with AMD succeeded in producing technology useful in both worlds. It doesn't mean that we as Sony simply incorporated the PC.
All he's missing is a big-ass head. Should be crazy.
This continuous improvement in AMD technology means it's dangerous to rely on teraflops as an absolute indicator of performance, and CU count should be avoided as well. In the case of CPUs, we all understand this. The PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5 each have 8 CPUs, but we never think that meant the capabilities and performance are equal. It's the same for CUs. For one thing, they've been getting much larger over time. Adding new features means adding lots of transistors. In fact, the transistor count for a PlayStation 5 CU is 62% larger than the transistor count for a PlayStation 4.
You know why you need shit like this?
Second,
because when it comes to like
GPU
all this console war shit, you got a lot of dudes that be running their mouth about shit they know nothing about.
Backwards compatibility is to put the previous console's chipset in the new console, like we did with some PlayStation 3s. But that's, of course, extremely expensive. A better way is to incorporate any differences in the previous console's logic into the new console's custom chips, meaning that even as the technology evolves, the logic and feature set that PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 4 Pro titles rely on is still available in backwards compatibility modes. One advantage of this strategy is that once backwards compatibility is in the console, it's in. It's not as if a cost down will remove backwards compatibility like it did on PlayStation 3. Achieving this unification of functionality took years of efforts by AMD, as any roadmap advancement creates a potential divergence in logic. Running PS4 and PS4 titles at boosted frequencies has also added complexity. The boost is truly massive this time around, and some game code just can't handle it. Testing has to be done on a title-by-title basis. Results are excellent, though. We recently took a look at the top 100 PlayStation 4 titles as ranked by playtime, and we're expecting almost all of them to be playable at launch on PlayStation 5.
Okay, PS4
with
will
regards
be
to new
backwards
features,
compatible.
as I said, our strategy was to try to break new ground.
PS4
but
games
at the same
will be
time
backwards
not
compatibility
to
on
require use
PS5.
of the new GPU capability.
Backwards compatible.
For more than
They
a
said
decade,
nothing about
GPUs
PS3,
have imposed
PS2,
a
or
restriction on game
PS1.
engines. Software handles vertex processing, but for the most part, dedicated hardware is responsible for the triangles and other geometry that the vertices form. That means it's not possible to do even basic optimizations, such as aborting processing the vertex if all geometry that
You've been around long
is
enough, then you should know better. I'm Team Games, nigga.
PlayStation 5 has a new unit called the Geometry Engine,
All I
which
care
brings
about is the
handling of
games.
triangles and other primitives under full programmatic control.
So when it comes
As
to
a game
backwards
developer,
compatibility,
you're
it
free to
seems that
ignore its
Xbox
existence
has
and
the
use
upper
the PlayStation
hand
5 GPU
as of right now
more
because
capable than the PS4
it will be
GPU.
backwards compatible
Or
with
you
every
can use
generation
this new
before it.
intelligence in
And the
various
PS5
ways.
only goes back to
Simple
PS4.
usage could be performance
So-
optimization, such as
Ouch!
removing back-faced or off-screen vertices and triangles.
So
More
Xbox is winning
complex
in backwards
usage involves something
compatibility
called primitive
and
shapers,
teraflops.
which allow the game to
Sony is
synthesize
winning
geometry
in
on the fly as
games,
it's being rendered. It's a brand
exclusives,
new
and
capability.
SSD.
Using
All right, y'all
primitive
keep it
shaders on
track.
PlayStation 5 will allow for a broad variety of techniques, including smoothly varying level of detail, addition of procedural detail to close-up objects,
3080
and
Ti will
improvements
stomp
to
these
particle
toys.
effects and
That's a
other
fact.
visual special effects. Another major new feature of our custom RDNA 2-based GPU is ray tracing, using the same strategy as AMD's upcoming PC GPUs. The CUs contain a new specialized unit called the intersection engine, which can calculate the intersection of rays with boxes and triangles. To use the intersection engine, first you build what is called an acceleration structure. It's data in RAM that contains all of your
I've already been dealing with ray tracing.
There's a
and I
specific
already know
set of
pretty much
formats you
enough I
can
need
use.
to
There
know
are
about it.
variations on the same BVH.
Been there,
concept.
done that when it comes
Then,
to ray
in your
tracing.
shader program, you
But
use
go
a
off,
new
Cerny,
instruction that
for the
asks
people that
the
haven't
intersection
experienced
engine
ray
to check a
tracing.
ray against the BVH. While the intersection
to
engine
Big
is
Zaya-
processing
Zaya.
the requested ray triangle or ray box
He said, "I've been
instructions,
watching
the
Hard 8 for
shaders
years,
are
he's
free
neutral."
to do other work. Having
Yeah,
said
these
that,
niggas
the
know
ray
better,
tracing
man.
instruction is pretty memory intensive, so it's a
I'm
good
team
mix
games.
with
That's all I
logic.
care about is the games. I don't care about none of these
There's of course
fucking
no
boxes.
need to use ray tracing. PS4 graphics engines will run just fine on PlayStation 5, but it presents an opportunity for those interested. I'm thinking it'll take less than 1 million rays a second to have a big impact on audio. That should be enough for audio occlusion and some reverb calculations. With a bit more of the GPU invested in ray tracing, it should be possible to do some very nice global illumination. Having said that, adding ray-traced shadows and reflections to a
Sony when I
traditional
remember you
graphics
streaming
engine
that Inside
could easily take
Xbox
hundreds of
Warfest.
millions of rays a second, and full ray tracing could take billions. How far can we go? I'm starting to get quite bullish. I've already seen a PlayStation 5 title that's successfully using ray tracing-based reflections in complex animated scenes with only modest costs.
Anybody
Another
that's been
set of
watching me
issues
long
for the
enough, they know
GPU
better.
involved size and frequency.
You know what I'm saying?
How big do we make the GPU, and what frequency do we run it at? This is a balancing act. The chip has a cost, and there's a cost for whatever we use to supply that chip with power and to cool it. In general, I like running the GPU at higher frequency. Let me show you why. Here's 2 possible configurations for a GPU roughly of the level of the PlayStation 4 Pro. This is a thought experiment. Don't take these configurations too seriously. If you just calculate teraflops, you get the same number. But actually, the performance is noticeably different because teraflops is defined as the computational capability of the vector ALU. That's just one part of the GPU. There are a lot of other units. And those other units all run faster when the GPU frequency is higher. At 33% higher frequency, rasterization goes 33% faster. Processing the command buffer goes that much faster. The L2 and other caches have that much higher bandwidth, and so on. About the only downside is that system memory is 33% further away in terms of cycles. But the large number of benefits more than counterbalance that. As a friend of mine says, a rising tide lifts all boats. Also, it's easier to fully use 36 CUs in parallel than it is to fully use 48 CUs. When triangles are small, it's much harder to fill all those CUs with useful work. So there's a lot to be said for faster, assuming you can handle the resulting power and heat issues, which frankly, we haven't always done the best job at. Part of the reason for that is, historically, our process for setting CPU and GPU frequencies has relied on some heavy-duty guesswork with regards to how much electrical power games will consume and how much heat will be produced as a result inside of the console. Power consumption varies a lot from game to game. When I play God of War on my PS4 Pro, I know the power consumption is high just by the fan noise. But power isn't simply about engine quality. It's about the minutia of what's being displayed and how. It's counterintuitive, but processing dense geometry typically consumes less power than processing simple geometry, which is, I suspect, why Horizon's map screen, with its low triangle count, makes my PS4 Pro heat up so much. Our process on previous consoles has been to try to guess what the maximum power consumption during the entire console lifetime might be, which is to say, the worst case scene in the worst case game, and prepare a cooling solution that we think will be quiet at that power level. If we get it right, fan noise is minimal. If we get it wrong, the console will be quite loud for the higher power games, and there's even a chance that it might overheat and shut down if we misestimate power too badly. PlayStation 5 is especially challenging because the CPU supports 256-bit native instructions that consume a lot of power. These are great here and there, but presumably only minimally used. Or are they? If we plan for major 256-bit instruction usage, we need to set the CPU clock substantially lower or noticeably increase the size of the power supply and fan. So, after much discussion, we decided to go with a very different direction on PlayStation 5. We built a GPU with 36 CUs. Mind you, RDNA 2 CUs are large. Each has 62% more transistors than the CUs we were using on PlayStation 4. So if we compare transistor counts, 36 RDNA 2 CUs equates to roughly 58 PlayStation 4 CUs.
Oh no, I think he's just going to show.
It is a fairly sizable GPU.
Xbox devs.
Then we went with a variable frequency strategy for PlayStation 5, which is to say we continuously run the GPU and CPU in boost mode. We supply a generous amount of electrical power and then increase the frequency of GPU and CPU until they reach the capabilities of the system's cooling solution.
I thought it was going to have
It's a
backwards
completely
compatibility with
different
the
paradigm.
entire
Rather than running at constant
PlayStation
frequency
family,
and letting
damn.
power vary based on the workload,
No,
we run at essentially
no.
constant power and let the frequency vary based on the workload. We then tackled the engineering challenge of a cost-effective and high-performance cooling solution designed for that specific power level. In some ways, it becomes a simpler
Shout out to
problem
Urban
because there are
Combat
no
1000.
more
Yo, I
unknowns.
just got
There's
approved to
no
stay
need
home
to
from my
guess
job.
what
They
power
paying us
consumption the worst-case
10
game
days
might
after
have.
our personals.
As for
Nigga
the
ain't going
details
back
of the
till
cooling
April
solution,
11th. Let's
we're
go.
saving them for our teardown. I think you'll be quite
We
happy
got Your
with what the
Royal
engineering
Entertainment.
team
He said my guy dresses up like a SSD card
So, how fast
for when
can
playing
we
with his
run
girl.
the GPU
LOL,
and
King
CPU with
Nerd.
this strategy? The simplest approach would be to look at the actual temperature of the silicon die and throttle the
got Chris
frequency on
Picks.
that
He said
basis.
8 lines
But
of
that won't
code, but
work.
still
It
can't keep
fails
my
to
eyes
create a
open.
consistent PlayStation 5 experience. It wouldn't do to run a console slower simply because it was in a hot room. So rather than look at the actual temperature of the silicon die, we look at the activities that the GPU and CPU are performing and set the frequencies on that basis, which makes everything deterministic and repeatable. While we're at it, we also use AMD's Smart Shift technology and send any unused power
I think even
from
if
the
you,
CPU
I think
to the
even if this is
GPU
not like
so
your,
it can squeeze out
your
a few
expertise,
more
man, I think
pixels.
it's good to watch
Benefits
because
of this
it'd be a lot
strategy
of people in the
are quite
community, a
large.
lot of corporate
Running
slaves,
a
they be
GPU
spreading a
at
lot of
2 gigahertz was
misinformation.
looking like an
So at least you can
unreachable
get all
target
this
with the old
information
fixed
yourself. That
frequency
way when
strategy.
these motherfuckers start
With this
talking,
new paradigm,
you can be
we're
like,
able
man,
to
I
run
seen
way
it,
over
shut
that.
the
In
fuck
fact,
up.
we have to
Like,
cap
that's
the
not
GPU
what's happening.
frequency
This is what's
at
happening
2.23
because
gigahertz
there is going to be
so that
people
we
that
can
act like they're
guarantee
smarter
that the
than Mark.
on-chip logic
You know what I'm
operates
saying?
properly.
So take all this shit in
36
yourself.
CUs at 2.23 gigahertz is 10.3 teraflops.
Hold up.
And we expect the GPU to spend most of its time at or close to that frequency and performance. Similarly, running the CPU at 3
10.3
gigahertz was causing
teraflops.
headaches with the old strategy.
So soak all
But
this
now
in.
we can run it
so
as
you ain't
high
got to worry
as
about nobody
3.5
blowing
gigahertz.
smoke up
In
your
fact,
ass.
it spends most of its time at that frequency. That doesn't mean all games will be running at 2.23 gigahertz and 3.5 gigahertz. When that worst-case game arrives, it will run at a lower clock speed, but not too much lower. To reduce power by 10%, it only takes a couple of % reduction in frequency, so I'd expect any downclocking to be pretty minor.
So the
All
Xbox
things
Series
considered,
X
the
got
change to a
about
variable
1
frequency
point,
approach
I want to say
will show
1.8
significant
more
gains for
teraflops.
PlayStation gamers. The
1.8
final
more
of our three
teraflops for the
principles was about
Xbox Series
finding new
X because I
dreams.
believe it's
Important for us on the
12.1
hardware team to
compared
find
to
new ways to
10.3.
expand
So that's
or
what,
deepen
8
gaming.
point,
And that's what
I mean
led us to a
1.8
focus
more
on 3D
teraflops, right?
As
Okay.
players, we experience the game through the visuals, through audio, and through the feedback we receive from the controller,
That's not
such as
too,
rumble
big
or
of a
haptic.
difference.
Personally, I feel a
but I'm
game is
quite
just
sure
dead
niggas gonna
without
run with
audio.
that anyway.
Visuals are, of course, important, but the impact of audio is huge as well. At the same time, the audio team on a game project has to do a lot with a little. For example, on PlayStation 4, there's fierce competition for the Jaguar CPU cores. Audio typically ends up getting just a fraction of a core.
So
That's
the
not
Xbox
much
did
of a
1.8
computational
more
resource,
teraflops.
particularly when you consider that the visuals
right.
run at 30 or 60 frames a second, but audio processing needs to happen at almost 200 times a second. So it's been tough going making forward progress on audio with PlayStation 4, particularly when PlayStation 3 was such a beast when it came to audio. The SPUs in Cell were almost a perfect device for audio rendering. Simple pipelined algorithms could really take advantage of asynchronous DMA and frequently reached 100% utilization of the floating point unit. There's unfortunately nothing comparable on PlayStation 4. Probably the most dramatic progress in the PlayStation 4 generation has been with virtual reality. The PSVR hardware has its own audio unit. It supports about 50 pretty decent 3D sound sources. And this provided a hint as to where we could go with audio, as well as some valuable experience. Not to oversimplify, but here were our goals for audio on PlayStation 5. The first goal was great audio for everyone, not just VR users or soundbar owners or headphone users. That meant audio had to be part of the console. It couldn't be a peripheral. The second goal was to support hundreds of sound sources. We didn't want developers to have to pick and choose what sounds would get 3D effects and which wouldn't. We wanted every sound in the game to have dimensionality. And finally, we wanted to really take on the challenges of presence and locality. Now, when we say presence, we mean the feeling that you're actually there. You've entered the matrix. It's not, of course, something we thought we could perfectly achieve, but the idea was that if we stopped using just a rain sound and instead used lots of 3D audio sources for raindrops hitting the ground at all sorts of locations around you, then at some point your brain would take a leap and you'd begin to have this feeling of real presence inside the virtual world of the game. This has the capacity to affect your appreciation of the game, just like music in a game does. The concept of locality is simpler. It's just your sense of where the audio is coming from. To the right of you, behind you, above you.
I know people
this
don't
can
care about
immerse
audio.
you
They
further in the game, and it can also directly enhance
They're
the
really
game.
about to be bored.
To use Dead Space as an example, I know, old school. You're fighting enemies in fairly dark, spooky locations. Back in the day, if you played the game using the TV speakers, you could tell that there was one last enemy growling and hunting you down, but it was difficult to tell quite where that enemy was. With headphones, you could tell that the enemy was somewhere on the right, which let you deduce, if you couldn't see it, that it must be somewhere behind and to your right. But with 3D audio with good locality, the idea is you know the enemy is precisely there, and you turn and you take it out. So, how do we know where a sound is coming from in the first place? Well, all those bumps and folds in the ear have a meaning, evolutionarily speaking. Based on what direction the sound is coming from, sound waves bounce around inside the ear, there's some constructive and destructive interference, and the result is a change in volume. The phase of the sound also shifts, depending on what path the sound wave took to reach the ear canal. These volume changes and phase shifts are different for each direction and also vary depending on the frequency of the sound. Head size and head shape also impact the sound.
Shout outs to Thizza. He said NVIDIA about to blow these consoles out the water.
Based on direction and frequency can be encoded in a table called the head-related
Also, shout out to
transfer
Biz the Kid
or
Game, and this is the
HRTF.
definition of could
Here's
have
part
been
one.
an email.
The vertical axis
pocket
is the frequency.
distributed.
The
This
horizontal
giving me
axis
lecture
is
class,
the direction,
PTSD.
front, back, left,
Y'all
right,
taking
and the
notes?
color gives the degree
Hey
of
man, we trying to
attenuation
learn
of the
something,
sound
man. With all the
output.
misinformation that be getting
The
spread
HRTF
around
is
the
as
fucking
unique
community,
to an
man. We trying to
individual
learn,
as a
man.
fingerprint is. In fact,
Even though we
you're
pick
looking
up a
at mine
little
right
bit,
now.
man, we trying to learn something.
Here's how
you
we
dig?
measure an HRTF. We've taken hundreds of people through this process. We
And this
put
is the
a
type of shit you
microphone
need to be
in the
taking in.
subject's
So when
left and
motherfuckers
right
start running their
ear
fucking
canals.
mouth, you could be like,
And
man, I
then
ain't trying to hear
sit
that
the
shit.
subject
I
down
seen it.
in
I
the
know
middle
what's
of an
going
array
on.
of 22 speakers. We then play an audio sweep from each speaker
These fucking corporate
as we
slaves
rotate
shouldn't be able
the
to tell
subject.
you
In
anything
the course
about what's
of
going
10
on
or
because
20
this shit
minutes,
is
we're
being
able to
broke
sample the
down
HRTF at
very,
over
very,
1,000
in
locations.
a very detailed
Using an
way.
HRTF when rendering audio creates unparalleled quality, but it's
The sound, though,
computationally
I definitely
expensive.
can't wait
The
to see
simplest
what
way
they
to
do with
use
the
an
sound.
HRTF is to process a sound
Oh,
source to
man.
make it appear as
Sound
if it's
makes the
coming from one of
experience
those
so much
1,000
better.
locations
Good
we sample.
sound.
Unfortunately, the processing has to be done in frequency domain rather than time domain, so there's multiple fast Fourier transforms needed for every sound source for every audio tick. That's a lot of multiplies. This computational complexity was the determining factor for our strategy. It meant we had to bite the bullet and design and build a custom hardware unit for 3D audio. Collectively, we're referring to the hardware unit and the proprietary algorithms we run on it as Tempest 3D Audio Tech. The meaning of 3D audio and technology should be
I don't
pretty
think we
obvious
getting no
here.
trailers
As
or
for
nothing. I don't think
Tempest,
we
I
gonna
feel
get a
it
look at the
really
box
reflects
either.
our goals
I don't
with
think we
audio.
getting none of
It
that
suggests a
today.
certain intensity of experience and also hints at your presence within it. We're calling the hardware
their
unit
time
that we
with this
built
shit.
the Tempest engine. It's based on AMD's GPU technology. We modified a compute unit in such a way as to make it very close to the SPUs in PlayStation 3. Remember when I said that they were ideal for audio? So the Tempest engine has no caches, just like an SPU.
The Series X
All
has
data access is via
1.8
DMA,
more
just
teraflops.
like an SPU.
So go ahead,
Our
man,
target
run
was
off.
that it would have more
1.8
power
more
than a
teraflops.
CPU, thanks
That's
to
going
the
to make a
parallelism
huge
that a
difference.
GPU can achieve, and then it would be more efficient
A
than a
gigantic
GPU, thanks to the
difference.
SPU-like architecture. The goal being to make possible near 100%
I wanted to see the
utilization
controller too,
of the
but I don't think we're
CU's
going to see
vector
anything,
units.
man.
Where
It's
we ended
almost
up
like this
is a
motherfucker
unit
don't
with
even
roughly
exist.
the same SIMD power and bandwidth as all 8 Jaguar cores in the PlayStation 4 combined. If we were to use the same algorithms as PSVR, that's enough for something like 5,000 sound sources. But of course, we want to use more complex algorithms, and we don't need anything like that number of sounds. It would have been wonderful if a simpler strategy, such as using
audio
Dolby
for all,
Atmos
hundreds of
peripherals,
advanced
could have
sound
achieved our
sources,
goals, but we
presence, and
wanted 3D
locality.
audio for all, not just those
right.
with licensed soundbars or the like. Also, we wanted many hundreds of sound sources, not just the 32 that Atmos supports. And finally, we wanted to be able to throw
Oh, how am I damage
overwhelming
controlling?
amounts
All
of
I
processing power.
how I'm
And it
giving out
wasn't clear what
facts. How
those
is that
peripheral
damage
might
control?
have inside of
The
it.
Xbox has
In fact, with the
1.8
Tempest
more
engine,
teraflops.
we even got enough power that we can allocate
how
some
is
to
that
the game,
damage control?
to the extent that games want to make use of
You know what I mean?
convolution
Remember, the
over
base
with
PS,
other
the
algorithms that are
Xbox
either
One X
computationally expensive or
had
need
5
to
more teraflops,
But
and
the
they still couldn't
primary
produce a
purpose of
game
the
that looked
Tempest
better than
engine
anything
remains
on the
3D
base PS4. That's not
Now,
damage
3D audio
control.
is
That's
a major
facts.
academic
I'm
research
sorry,
topic.
facts.
It's safe to say that no one in
Shout
the
out to
world
Your
has all
Royal.
the
He said this
And the
info is
set of
needed to
algorithms
combat
that
the
has to be
fanboys,
invented,
but
tuned,
damn,
or
I need
implemented
Red
to
Bull and
realize
crack
our
to stay
vision for
awake.
3D audio
LOL.
is
And then we
immense.
got Chris Pick.
For example,
Imagine this guy
use
on
of
Wii.
HRTFs in games
And then we
is
got
quite
Biz the Kid
complex.
Gaming. They couldn't
Before,
find
I talked
somebody
about
a
making
little
the sound
more
source appear as if it's coming, from one of those thousands of HRTF sound
charismatic
But for
to
high-quality
explain this.
3D game audio,
Nah, man,
we
ain't
have to
nobody
handle other
smart enough.
possibilities. The sound source might not be at one of the
Charismatic,
1,000
I'm sorry.
HRTF sample
To
locations. So
explain
we have to
this. Nah, ain't
blend
nobody
the
smart enough,
HRTF
man.
data from the closest locations that we have sampled.
I have a
The sound
2080
source
Ti.
might be
I'm
moving,
good.
which
Yeah, I
needs
got a
very
2080 Ti
special handling
myself.
as that
It's
blend
definitely-
keeps changing,
it
and that can cause
still
phase
blows these
artifacts in
consoles
the
out of the
resulting
water.
audio.
And then
Or
as far
the
as the
sound source
SSD
might have
go,
a size to it, meaning it should
PC
feel
already
as if
got
it's coming from an
PCI
area rather than a
E4.0,
single
so
point.
it'll
There's
be
also
more
whole
out anyway.
categories of
Gotta
approaches
be
to be
doing 7
handled.
gigs
3D
a
audio can be
second.
implemented using individual
whatever, man.
processing of 3D
it's
sound
whatever.
sources. But alternatively,
Kid
ambisonics
Mike,
can
shout out
be
to you.
used for
Damn
3D
8 guy
audio.
Xbox.
Ambisonics
Pussy
speak somewhat
bleeding,
like
man.
the
Always,
spherical
dog.
harmonics
Always.
used
I'm
in
spitting
computer
facts. I'm telling motherfuckers, hey,
finally,
it has
there's audio devices.
1.8 more
The player might be
teraflops.
using headphones
If you
or
think
TV
that's going to make
speakers or
a
have
huge
higher-end
difference,
surround sound setup
then
with 6 or more speakers.
you're sadly
all of which need
mistaken.
different
Like
approaches.
I said, we've seen
That's
when the
a lot of
Xbox One X had
variations.
5
It's
more
nice to have the
teraflops. It
computational
still couldn't
resources of
produce
the
nothing
Tempest engine.
that looked better
But
than
it's
a
clear
machine
that
that
achieving
had
our ultimate
1
goals with 3D
teraflop.
audio is going
That's
to be a
not no damage
multi-year,
control. That's
step-by-step
facts.
process.
You know what I mean?
Having said
I'm
that, headphone
just saying.
audio implementation is largely complete
saying,
at this
damn,
time.
we still on audio?
It was a natural place
Jesus.
for us to start. With headphones, we control
I don't think we
exactly
getting no
what each
trailers
ear
or nothing,
hears,
man. We ain't
and
getting no
therefore the
hardware,
algorithmic development and
reveal.
implementation are more straightforward.
Oh man, none
For
of that.
TV speakers and stereo speakers, we're in the process of implementing virtual surround sound. The idea being that if you're sitting in a
ain't getting
sweet
none of
spot
that,
in front
fam.
of the TV, then the sound can be made to feel as if it's coming from any direction, even
So
behind.
man, I never said power didn't matter.
Virtual
I never,
surround sound has a
power
lot in
always
common with
matters.
3D
It's about how
audio
you
and
use the
headphones,
power.
but
Like, are
it's
y'all
more
niggas retarded?
complex because
Like,
the
what the
less
fuck
ear
is y'all
control
talking
the
about?
right
Power
speaker
doesn't matter.
devices.
It's all about how
We
you
have a
use the
basic
power.
implementation of virtual
We already
surround
seen
sound
how
up
the
and running.
power
We're now
is
looking
being
at
used
increasing
between
the
these
size of that sweet spot,
these two
which is to
companies,
say,
between
making
Sony
the
and
area you
Microsoft.
need
We
to
already
be in to feel the
seen
3D
that
effect
Sony
larger.
does more
And we're
with
also
less.
working
Is
to
this
boost the
not
sense
the
of
case?
locality.
Am I tripping? Am I in the
Headphone audio is the
Twilight
current
Zone or
gold
some
standard
shit?
for
Like,
3D audio on PlayStation
fuck
5.
what it say on
We're going to
paper.
see
What the
we
fuck
can do
does
to
the
bring
end
virtual
product look
surround
like
sound to a
at the
similar
end of the
level,
day?
after
Power
which
always
we'll start
matters,
in on
but now,
setups with
as
more
we
speakers,
know,
such as 6
it's all
channel
about how you
systems.
use that power.
It's now to the point where some of the
Like, what the
PlayStation 5
fuck?
games in development are extensively using these systems.
It has
One of
more
the game
power on
modes
paper.
allows you to
Okay,
toggle
is it
between
being used?
conventional PlayStation
No, so
4
far
style
we haven't
stereo
seen
audio
all the
and our
fucking
new
extra
3D
teraflops
audio.
being
I
used by
listened with just an
Microsoft. We
ordinary
haven't
pair
seen
of
it.
over-the-ear over-the-ear headphones, and
We
wow,
just haven't
I
seen
could
it,
feel
dog.
difference.
So
3D
until we
audio
see
has
it,
that
we got to go
conventional
off of
feel
what
to
we
it.
know.
Conventional
And what we
stereo
done
audio
already
feels
seen and what we done
smash
already
flat by
experienced.
comparison.
Like, y'all motherfuckers can keep on guessing and all that. As far as what we've seen,
a big advancement, but have I
in this case, no, power doesn't seem to matter. Fucking Microsoft got all the power and still can't outperform
our target.
a machine that has less power.
Well, the answer is no.
I mean, I don't know what the fuck
you
y'all
probably
niggas,
caught on to what's missing here, namely whose HRTF was being used.
Tripping.
It wasn't mine. It was the default HRTF. The audio team analyzed the hundreds that they measured and chose the one they felt was the closest fit to the total game-playing audience. This shows a piece of the default HRTF on the left.
I mean,
In
at the
my
end of the
HRTF
day,
on
I
the
mean,
right,
I don't
you
know
can
how
see that
much.
the
I mean,
general
okay,
features
let me
are
say
much the
this.
same,
How
but the
much
details
more you
are
think?
quite different.
How much more you
With
think?
the default
1.8
HRTF, as I said,
teraflops is
3D
going to
audio
allow?
sounds pretty great.
Like, how
When I
much
used
more? How
my
much? Like,
HRTF,
what are we
the
thinking
audio
right
reaches a
now?
higher level of realism.
When it comes to
Which is to
multiplats,
say
what are we
that when
thinking?
using
Xbox
headphones
Series
and my
X going to be
HRTF,
4K 60,
I
and
occasionally
PlayStation
get
5
even
going to
think a
be
sound is coming
fucking
from the real
4K
world
30
when it's actually coming
or
from the world.
1800p 60 or some shit like that. Like, what do
Corollary
y'all?
to this
What do
is that
y'all
there are
think is
few
going to be the
people whose
difference between
HRTFs are
1.8
sufficiently
teraflops?
far
Like,
from
what do
the
you
default
think going to be
HRTF.
the difference?
The red dot here that they can
You know what I'm
toggle
saying?
between
Xbox
PS4
Series
style
X
and
going to be
PS5
4K
style audio and not
120,
sense much
and
difference. I've had a
and
few
the
people
PlayStation 5 going to be
describe
4K
PlayStation
60.
5's
Like, what
3D
are we?
sounding like
What is this
a bit
extra
better
1.8
stereo
is
audio.
really going to do?
Presumably, they're the ones at the very edges of this
That's what I'm trying to understand.
which means what HRTF you're using is key.
The Xbox
I'd
One
like
X
everyone
had
to be
2
able to
more
experience what I'm
teraflops than the
experiencing,
Pro.
But obviously it's
What
not
did it do
possible
when
to
it came to
HRTF
multiplats?
every
What was the
PlayStation
real
user.
difference? Y'all
That
got to
means
understand
HRTF
parity
selection
plays a part
and
too.
synthesis are going to be big topics going forward.
You know what I mean? The
as
Xbox One
Tempest
X had 2 more
technology
teraflops
matures.
than the PS4
At
Pro.
PlayStation
What
5
did we
launch,
see with
we'll be
that?
offering a choice of 5 HRTFs.
See what I'm saying?
There's
Like,
a
y'all
simple
niggas better
test where you pick the
relax.
one that gives you the best
It's not
performance.
going to be a big difference,
That's
man.
just
It's
the
going to be a
first
big
step, though.
difference
This isn't
when it comes to them
open-ended
exclusives. We
research
already know that.
Maybe
But
you'll
when
be
it comes to the
sending us a
multiplats,
photo
it
of
ain't
your
going to be
ear,
that big
and
of
we'll
a
choose
difference.
a neural
If
network
there's any.
to pick the closest HRTF in our library.
We're only talking about
Maybe you'll be
1.8
sending
more
us a video
teraflops.
of
And I
your
don't really
ears
know how much
and your head,
extra
and we'll
power
make a
that
3D model of them and
that
synthesize the HRTF.
turns into.
Maybe
But
you'll play
as
an
far as what
audio
we done
game
seen
to
so
tune
far,
your HRTF. We'll
I
be
don't know,
subtly
man.
changing it as you play.
It ain't looking
and
that
hone in
great.
on the HRTF that gives you the highest
Shout outs
score,
to Yo Royal.
meaning
He said,
that
anyways, when
matches you
Sony
the
hit that
best.
PS5 stride, the
This is
sales
a
damage
journey
control
we'll all
gonna
be
be
taking
funny.
together over the
That
next
first
few
party,
years.
though.
Ultimately, we're committing to enabling everyone to experience that next level of realism.
Kenobi Ninja, you're right,
Hopefully,
man. You're
I've been able
exactly
to
right.
illustrate a bit about our design and decision-making process today, and why PlayStation 5 has the feature set that it does. Now comes the fun part. We get to see how the development community takes advantage of that feature set. I'm hoping for the completely unexpected. Will it come from audio, ray tracing, the capabilities of the SSD, or something else? I guess we'll find out soon enough. Thank you for your time today.
Oh, damn. That was 50 minutes? Like that? Damn, that was... I'm not gonna lie, that 50 minutes went kind of fast. Oh, shit. Damn, hold up. Just bring it back while I talk to the people one time, man. Shit, okay, well, that's it. Yeah, we didn't get, shit, we got nothing, man. I mean, we got a bunch of, a tech talk, and that's good for, you know, what's going on around here, you know, a bunch of tech talk, but, other than that, man, we really got nothing. Damn, that shit got 24,000 dislikes. I wonder, okay, so it got 127,000 likes, and it has 24,000 dislikes. Is that PlayStation fans, or are we going to blame that on the Xbox? Did the PlayStation fans give it 24,000 likes, or did the Xbox show up and give it 24,000 likes? Like, which one is it? What y'all thinking, man? What y'all thinking? Shout out to Chris Pix. He said, I was once dating a girl who said, I'm so glad you know how to use that tiny penis. What the fuck? And also we got one from Kiop 901. He says, so the fake console war is going to be how fast my games load. Well, so far Sony's winning on that front. They got the faster SSD. I mean, it's way faster. It's almost Sony's SSD is like 2 times faster than what's going to be in the Series X. But we'll see how that turns out in real world performance. Xbox also has the teraflops. They got 1.8 more teraflops. They got the win for backwards compatibility because it's going to go back through all of the previous Xboxes, and the PlayStation 5 will only go back as far as the PS4. So they got the win on that. So it's going to come down to the games, man. Damn, it's at 37,000 dislikes. Holy shit. Yo, 37,000 dislikes. I feel like, you know what, them dislikes might be good. Because you know what, the dislikes might be good. And you know what, I'm gonna hit the dislike too. I gotta dislike this. I get what, I know it was a deep dive and all of that shit, but I gotta hit the dislike. I gotta hit the dislike because hopefully this will light a fire under Sony's ass to let them know, like, listen, man, we ain't going for this shit. Like, it's cool for deep diving and all that, but we need more, man. We got no look at the console. When your competition got the console, the hardware, and all that shit out there, we need that, man. You know what I'm saying? They already done showed a little piece of a game. It might have not been some gameplay or some shit like that, but still, you got to see something. We need to see something, my guy. I'm going to have to hit the dislike because hopefully Sony can see that, yo, we ain't happy with this. You know what I mean? Y'all should have gave us something else, man. We not happy with this. I mean, we kind of knew it was coming. They said this was the CDC and all that. Yeah, we get all that. But listen, man. You know what I mean? What y'all telling us for? You know, like, y'all should have sent this out privately to the motherfuckers who it mattered to at the end of the day. What the fuck y'all showing this shit for? You know what I mean? Most of the people that's watching don't know what the fuck is going on. You know what I'm saying? I'm on PC. I've been on PC for a long time. So I know I can understand a little bit. I can understand the SSD talk and shit like that to a certain extent because I got NVMe drives and all that shit. And I've been on SSD since 2011, 2012. So I can understand that. You know what I mean? And I've already been, I done upgraded my system for sound and all that. I got all the Dolby Atmos and shit. So I can, you know, I can feed into all that shit. But for the majority of the people watching this shit, I mean, come on, man. We need to see visuals. We need something visual. You know what I mean? You talking about how fast it is. Can we see that? You know what I mean? You know, so I don't know, man. This shit, damn, it's already at 44,000 dislikes. I think they're trying to get, I think a lot of the comments are saying dislike this shit to let Sony know, man, we need some more, man. Like, what the fuck is this? There's no E3. You did? And they wasn't going to E3 anyway. You know what I mean? They keeping us in the dark. The shit's supposed to come out this fall. They not letting us know anything. They not like, hey, we got another event coming up where we're going to show more of the UI. We're going to reveal the hardware and they're not giving us nothing. They're just leaving us in the dark. This is the arrogant shit I hate when it comes to fucking PlayStation and Sony, man. That's right. Dislike this motherfucker. So we can get some more shit. Like, honestly, this presentation we just got was more for developers for the most part. You know what I mean? They should have sent this shit to the motherfucking developers. You know what I mean? That's where they should have sent this shit to. They should have sent this shit to the developers and let them watch this shit. For us, the consumer that's looking to purchase a PS5, what we get out of this? This ain't for us. You know what I mean? I mean, listen, they said deep dive, right? Okay, we get it, deep dive. But you can still deep dive and give us something. They ain't give us a fucking thing. Like, yeah, wait on it, motherfuckers. We'll give it to y'all when we fucking feel like it. We'll give a fuck what Microsoft's doing. You know what I'm saying? This shit was for developers. They should have sent this shit to developers. The fuck y'all telling us for? They treating this shit out to a bunch of fucking gamers that's waiting to play games and see what the fuck going on. Yeah, deep dive tomorrow. This shit, I should have sent this shit privately to all the publications and all the developers and let them watch this shit. For us, we want to see some games. We want to see the hardware. We want to see the controller, especially when the competition is already doing that. So at the end of the day, when it comes to the rollout, Microsoft is doing a much better job when it comes to the rollout. You know what I'm saying? They are doing a much better job when it comes to the rollout. And that's the thing. You learn from your mistakes because the rollout with the PS4 was better than the Xbox One. Now they switching it. Now it's like, learn from your mistakes. Okay, what did we do wrong the last time? Okay, now this is what we're going to do this time. You know what I'm saying? They rolling this shit out slow as a motherfucker, man. It ain't no E3. You know what I'm saying? All these fucking events is canceled. So ain't no need to be fucking waiting. Just give us what the fuck we want to know. Okay, we did. Okay, now the spec talk is we could put that to bed, right? We can put the spec talk to bed. All right? Teraflops, 10.3 teraflops. The Xbox has 12.1. The Xbox has the 1.8 advantage. Okay, that's put to bed now. So I guess motherfuckers gonna argue about having one more teraflop more than the other. So we're gonna have to hear about that for the next couple of fucking months. You know what I'm saying? PlayStation got the faster SSD than the Xbox. Xbox got more games available for backwards compatibility. They going through all the generations from the original Xbox to the 360 to the One to the Series X. Okay, they got that. And Sony's most likely going to have the better games. At the end of the day, that's what matters. He didn't even talk about the fucking 4K drive, man. I mean, I know some people don't care about that shit, but, you know, for people that's in the movies and they got a 4K TV, they might want to know about that. You know what I mean? Xbox ain't talking about that shit either, but still, I want to know, like, what's the speed going to be? Whatever, man. I mean, whatever, man. Yo, so how long are we going to have to wait now for some meaningful information? How long are we going to have to wait for some information for the gamers? This right here wasn't for the gamers. For the people that truly just care about the games and what the system has to offer, I feel like this wasn't really for us. You know what I mean? This was for the corporate slaves. You know what I mean? The fag boys, they're going to take this shit and run with it. And, oh, my number is higher than your number. Oh, but my number, and then they're going to do their thing with that. You know what I'm saying? And of course, the developers know what they got to work with. They probably they've been new. The dev kits have been out. So we need a conference for the gamers. Like, let us know what's up. What the fucking console look like. What the controller look like. Can we hear about the UI and all that shit? You know what I mean? But, oh man, whatever, man. One good thing that came out of this is that we can put this teraflop shit to bed. But I feel like this teraflop shit ain't going to bed. I feel like these niggas is about to fight back and forth over 1.8 fucking teraflops. It's about to be some crazy shit going on over 1.8 fucking teraflops. And I'm quite sure the backwards compatibility shit is going to be an argument. Sony dude's going to be running with the SSD. Oh, man. Help us out, Sony. Like, y'all motherfuckers, y'all be fueling these console wars, man. Shit. Jesus. You know what I'm saying? So, but the PlayStation 5 is 10 teraflops. That's way more than the base PS4, and that's much more than the PS4 Pro, man. So that's a lot of power. They got a lot of power they're going to be working with when it comes to these exclusives. I can't wait to see what these exclusives look like. I can't wait to see what these next-gen exclusives look like from PlayStation, because there's a lot more power than the PS4 and the PS4 Pro. A lot more power. So I can't wait to see these. At the end of the day, man, it's these games, man. What these games going to look like, what they're going to be able to do with all this super fast SSD and all that. So it's all about the games. One thing we do know for sure. Two things for certain. We already know PlayStation going to deliver when it comes to the games. They are going to deliver when it comes to the games. We can put some confidence into that. They are going to deliver when it comes to the games. As far as anything else, we'll see what these multi-plats looking like and all that. I'm on PC at the end of the day. So the only reason why I need a fucking PlayStation is for the exclusives. I would hope that that's why when Death Stranding come out, and I don't even care about that game, but I'm buying Death Stranding for PC and I'm buying Horizon Zero Dawn for PC because I'm trying to show Sony that there's money to be made. So hopefully the PlayStation exclusives will come to PC a whole lot faster. If the PlayStation exclusives got to the point of the Xbox games where it's day and date on the PC, I wouldn't need neither one of these fucking boxes. I'm gonna be real with you. All I need a PlayStation for is exclusives. If they exclusives are on PC, I don't need a PlayStation. Just like I don't need a fucking Xbox. Don't care about the Xbox. The only reason why I care about the PlayStation is because they got games that I can't get nowhere else. Once that's no longer the problem, or once that's no longer the case, then I won't give a fuck about a PlayStation console either. All right, I'm just being real with you. I only got a doubt. That's the only reason why I got a PS4. I got a PS4 because I want to play The Last of Us 2. And I ain't waiting. Definitely ain't waiting. So that's the only reason why I got a PS4 Pro right now. If I ain't have a if The Last of Us 2 wasn't coming out, I wouldn't even have a PS4 Pro right now. I wouldn't even have it. I'm locked in when it comes to PC. It's just too much, man. Like after experiencing 120 frames, G-Sync and shit like that, I'm locked all the way in. You dig? So I would hope that their exclusives go to PC so I can play the best version of them. But we'll see, man. Until then, I don't wait. I'm not waiting. I don't wait for games that I want to play. I'm not waiting a month. I'm not waiting six months. I'm not waiting a year. I'm not waiting 3 years. None of that shit. If it's a game that I really want to play, I'll get the console that it's on so I can play it. You know what I'm saying? So that's just where it's at. I don't do no waiting. I'll just play it again. If it's that good, I'll just play it again on PC if it does come to PC. But as far as waiting, I don't do no waiting, fam. No. I don't do no motherfucking waiting. So with that being said, I have to deal with these fucking boxes. Well, I ain't got to deal with the Xbox. That's great. Shout out to Microsoft. Shout out to Phil Spencer. Thank you for giving me the option of not having to deal with your box because your games comes to PC day and date. So I'm good with that. If we can get Sony to do the same thing, that'd be great. But other than that, man, I'm more excited about. Hold on, what's today? The 18th, right? I think next week we should be getting some information on that next generation graphics card, that RTX or whatever they're gonna call it, 3080 and that 3080 Ti. I'm more excited to see what that's gonna be hitting for than these consoles right now. Especially, I don't give a fuck about the Xbox. That shit is irrelevant. The PlayStation is relevant because they actually got the games, the exclusive games. Other than that, PlayStation would be irrelevant too. But I'm excited to see what NVIDIA about to drop. I want to see what Navi is, Big Navi or whatever AMD going to do. But I don't know, people, man. What's up, man? What y'all think about this? How y'all feel about this, man? How y'all feel? $2,000. Listen, y'all niggas can cry about the prices. I love when y'all niggas cry. Y'all, every time motherfucking PC gamers talk about new graphics cards and all that, y'all want to start talking about the price and all. Nobody cares about that. Motherfuckers work and all that. That's what you work for, right? That's what you work for. That's what you save up for and all that shit to spend your money. Nigga, like, ain't nobody worrying about all that price shit. It don't even fucking matter. Long as it give me the performance that I want. Like, ain't nobody worrying about all that. Y'all niggas be worrying about that price and all that. Oh, it's gonna cost. I don't give a fuck what it costs. Long as it fucking delivers what I want and what I need. You know what I mean? Like, y'all motherfuckers be trying to downplay that shit by mentioning the cost. Nobody gives a fuck. Nobody on PC is worrying about that. I mean, there's options. If you don't want to spend a certain amount, there's other options for you. You know what I'm saying? Motherfuckers always trying to bring up the price and shit like that's supposed to change something. The facts is the shit destroyed what the fuck you got coming in these boxes. That's the facts. Nobody ain't worrying about the fucking prices. We grown. We ain't fucking kids asking mommy for shit or something like that. We fucking grown. So nobody cares about the price. If that make you feel better, you can mention a price. Oh, it's going to cost this much. Nobody cares. You know what I mean? Like, you care about that. Nobody, like, you worry about that. That's a you problem. That ain't nobody else's problem. You know what I'm saying? Nobody gives a fuck about none of that. Who cares what the price is? If I can afford it and it's what I want, that's what I'm getting. I'm not sitting there worrying about none of that. You know what I'm saying? None of that. Long as I get what I need. That's high performance. That's native resolutions. You know what I'm saying? That's 60 plus frames per second. High fidelity graphics, textures, all that. As long as I'm getting what I need, HDMI 2.1, 4K 120. As long as I get what I need, that's all that matters, man. Y'all niggas worry about that price. Whatever make y'all feel better. I ain't worrying about none of that shit, man. Fuck. Oh, the graphics card's gonna be $2,000. The fuck? Like, you supposed to be like, that makes it less, that makes it less significant. No, it's still gonna be a beast. Don't matter. The fuck? Motherfuckers be getting crazy. We're always mentioning price and shit. Yo, you worry about the price. Put that burden on you. If that's a burden on you, then you deal with it. Don't try to put that shit on nobody else. Motherfuckers stay trying to put that shit on somebody, make somebody else feel bad or feel some type of way or some shit. Like, put that burden on you. You deal with that. Don't worry about nobody else and what they might be doing with their fucking money or what they gonna buy and all that shit. Y'all niggas kill me with that shit. As soon as you mention these next graphics cards, because these next graphics cards, that 3080 and that 3080 Ti is going to stomp a mud hole in this PlayStation 5 and that Series X. Going to stomp it into the finest wine. Now, you can mention price to make you feel better. That don't change the facts. That shit funny to me. Oh, the price don't fucking matter. It's gonna stomp these boxes into the finest wine. You just know that. Just fucking know that. Fuck out of here talking about some fucking prices. Shit, don't give a fuck about no damn price, dog. You know what I'm saying? Now, that's supposed to fucking kill your fucking excitement and shit. Yeah, them cars is gonna be beasts, but they're gonna cost like $2,000. Like, that's supposed to kill somebody's excitement. The fuck? It ain't nothing that you can't get. You know what I'm saying? You got a job, you work and shit like that, $2,000, you can save up for that. What's that? You know what I'm saying? Or you probably already got that in savings. Like, you know what I'm saying? It ain't nothing like, listen, none of that shit is out of reach. $2,000 is not out of reach if you got a fucking job, motherfucker. Shit is not out of, if you got a decent job. You know what I'm saying? That shit is not out of reach. You know what I mean? Even if you got to save, it doesn't matter. I mean, most people do save. You know what I mean? When you're going to make an expensive purchase, you do save. You save your money up and then you buy it. You know what I'm saying? Like, nobody ain't talking about all that shit. $2,000. Get the fuck out of here. I don't give a fuck. That shit gonna stomp the shit out of whatever the fuck these boxes gonna do. You mad? Shout out to Urban Combat. The graphics card is only $2,000. Shut the fuck up. Shout out to Thizza. He said these dudes spend over $1,000 on multiple consoles. You know what I'm saying? They talking, that niggas crazy. All that money they spending up on fucking PSN and all that shit. They're going to buy this console for however much it is. Then when they come out with the PS5 Pro, they're going to buy that. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, come on, stop it. Shout out to Chris Pix. He said was excited to hear about NAC 3. Nah, you know NAC 3. Damn. That's what I'm saying. People are like, you can't save up. You save up. That's what a lot of Americans do. That's what a lot of people do. They save up. You know something is coming. It's on the way. You know something's on the way that you might want, and you know it's probably going to be expensive. You save up. That's it. Even if it is $2,000, you save up for it. Treat yourself. You only live once, dog. And when you die, you can't take it with you. So live your life. Enjoy yourself. You want to buy something nice for yourself if it is expensive. So what? You work hard every fucking day. You know what I'm saying? You go to work, working hard. You probably working somewhere you don't even want to fucking be. And you think you're not going to fucking, treat yourself? Save up if it's too much, if it's out of reach right away. You save up for it. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't fucking matter. Fuck. Y'all niggas kills me, man. It is what it is, man. Whatever that shit is, whatever that 3080 Ti is, I'm getting that. Whatever, however much it costs, I'm getting that. Fuck. Jesus, relax. You know what I mean? You're supposed to be saving up anyway, right? Like most people, I know. It's hard to save. I know it's hard. It's hard to save. I know. I get it. You know what I'm saying? It's definitely, it's a you know, it's a discipline, man. Just like a lot of shit in life, man. If you got to be disciplined, man, it's hard to save. But if you really want something bad enough, motherfucker, you'll save that motherfucking money. If you really want something bad enough, you know what I mean? You'll save it. I know it's hard, but yeah, you know, for some people, it depends, man. Some people, it's easy for them to save. They can save with no problem. They're very, you know, they're very tight with their money and shit like that. But for some people, it's hard to save, man. But at the end of the day, you working, you got a job, man. You want something, man. You save up for it, you get it. Or maybe you don't have to save up for it, but you get it, man. Treat yourself, man. You working hard every day. You know what I mean? You working hard every day. If it's something that you know you're gonna use and put it to use, you know what I'm saying? It ain't no problem, man. Save it for yourself. Hold on, I just noticed that 825. Hold on, what? Hold on. Is the SSD? Hold on. The SSD in the PlayStation is only gonna be 825 gigs. What? Is that after? Hold on, because with the PS4, you know it's 1 terabyte. But when you actually, you know, start the game up and all that or whatever, or turn the console on, and it does take like 100 and something gigs. You end up only having like 811 gigs because it uses up a lot of gigs for the UI and all that shit, right? Like your PlayStation ain't actually 1 terabyte. So is that the number after? Or is that the number, you know, is that, because that don't make no sense. That's kind of weird. And why would it be 825? Y'all know what I mean? Y'all know what I'm saying? Like when you buy a PS4 Pro, brand new out the box, is 1 terabyte. But once you go and check the terabyte, it'd be like 200 gigs missing. You'd be like, what the fuck? I only got 811 gigs. What the fuck is going on? I think a lot of it goes to the UI or some shit, or it's in backup. I don't know where the fuck it goes, but you don't actually get the 1,000 terabytes. Not even when you do PC. You know what I'm saying? Well, if you put the operating system on it, but y'all know what I mean. So is that 825 the number after, or is that is it gonna say 825 on a motherfucking box? Like, you know what I'm saying? Oh man, that'd be crazy. It gotta be after. It gotta be after the OS. It gotta be after. That's not what's gonna be on the box. It can't be. The 2080 Ti is 13.5 teraflops at base. Yeah, once you overclock your graphics card, it's running at much higher than 13 teraflops. You know what I mean? Yeah, 825 to use on game, yeah. Yeah, okay. All right. Yeah, I didn't think it would be. Okay, yeah, that's after the OS. All right, cool. Yeah, I figured that was after the OS. It had to be. Yo, shout out to Dark Cloud. Yeah, that's what I was saying. I was saying that this show was more for devs, not really for the customers, man. Not really for the consumers. This was more for devs. That's why I'm like, yo, we need something for the gamers, man. We need something for the consumers, man. You know what I mean? They could have just sent this shit to the devs and let them write up pieces on it, or not just the devs, but like publications and all that. Because this shit was more for them than us. You know what I mean? Well, yeah, the 2080 Ti does automatically boost. You're right. It does have an automatic boost clock, but I always I overclock my shit to 2 gigahertz anyway. But yeah, it does do it on its own. Yeah, no doubt. You right about that. Kid Smooth celebrating right now. Hard 8, remember Digital Foundry said the Scorpio would equal or beat a 1070. LOL. That was a lie. That was a lie. Yeah, they did Digital Foundry in their pocket right now, man. I mean, they in Microsoft pocket right now. That's a fact. What's going on Twitter right now, man? Let me see. What happened? Let me see. What's going on in Twitter? Jack Move said, what happened to the remaster engine Hip Hop Gamer was talking about? Never mind. Come on, man. Y'all niggas be listening to Hip Hop Gamer? That dude is the worst. This nigga Jack Move said D-Batch could pull up to a pod wearing assless chaps and the Gap Band reunion tour halter top, and y'all hang on to every word he says. Who the fuck be listening to D-Batch? Who the fuck listens to that clown, man? Y'all niggas, y'all be out here listening to D-Batch. Do y'all even know who the fuck that is? Damn, that's funny as hell. That is hilarious. Damn. I know it's going down on Twitter right now, man. I'm about to get up out of here, though, man. Shout out to Killmonger Ultra, man. He said, glad I'm in the middle of the building. My PC just need a GPU. That's all, man. That's all it needs. Shout out to Lion O for the super chat. Lionel. Okay. Got the Thundercat logo. Ouch. That's fire, my guy. Yeah, I missed any other super chats? All right, yeah, man. Shout out to y'all, man. I know y'all probably feel like it was boring and all that, but yeah, it pretty much was. Shit, I guess in the upcoming months we'll get some games and we'll get the hardware reveal and shit like this. I wasn't going to do a live reaction to this too. I wasn't going to do it too. I wasn't going to do it. Damn, man. Anyway, man, make sure y'all hit the like button. You know what I mean? Make sure you hit the bell, too, so you know when I go live, man. Make sure you hit the like button, hit the bell. Also, I did a live playthrough of Resident Evil 3 demo earlier today, so make sure y'all go check that out. Also, if you didn't see AGS Podcast this week, go check that out. But definitely go check out my Resident Evil 3 live playthrough. I'm going to see y'all on Sunday at 4 p.m. EST. I might do some Doom Eternal. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how I feel about that one. I may do a Doom Eternal, not playthrough, but I don't know. Live play or something like that. Maybe the multiplayer. We'll see. No promises. But definitely hit the like button, people. Yo, we had over 700 people in here. No, one dude said when he arrived, it was over 900 people. So I was on my way to over 1,000 live viewers, and I fumbled the bag because for them couple of seconds that there was no sound, that shit dropped crazy. Yo, those numbers dropped dramatically. Motherfuckers like, I can't hear shit. I'm gone. Damn, I fumbled the bag, man. I fumbled the bag. But anyway, shout out to all the Super Chat supporters, man. Patreon supporters, everybody that show love. Shout out to everybody that commented, man. What up? And hit the like button, man. I'm going to see y'all in a couple of days, man, if I do this Doom shit. But if not, I'll see y'all on Sunday, dog. I'm about to go on Twitter and see what the fuck going on. Oh, man, this shit should be interesting. But yeah, shout out to y'all, man. Damn, I fumbled the bag. I was supposed to kill it. Damn, I was supposed to kill it. It's your boy Hard8. I'm gone. Deuces.